Hi and welcome to Teach Start, and today we're going to be looking at whether you should share PowerPoints. Now, this is part of our quick tips series of videos, which is designed for quick, actionable stuff that you can do right now. And this is a bit of a different one today because I'm actually going to say about what not to use when you share PowerPoints. And we're talking specifically about PowerPoints and kind of ignoring other resources, because a PowerPoint for me is mostly like a whole lesson. Very rarely do you share bits, although I'll talk about that as well in this video. So there are some schools out there, and I've not worked in one, but I've been to one, where the whole faculties have the standard PowerPoints they go through. And I believe the American system, or a lot of the American system, is based on that teachers are there to press the next slide and understand the information that comes up, but they don't make the resource. And that sounds really appealing. It sounds fantastic. And the reason schools love it is because it standardizes the way the lessons are taught across the faculty. So they all have the same one. So if someone changes group, it's the same diet. That it allows the faculty to have the most amazing PowerPoints, the most appropriate ones, to just the best PowerPoints ever. And it also cuts down on the the teachers' workload, which is always a good thing. So it seems a bit odd that I would say, speak against it. Now, this isn't targeting those schools and saying they're doing it all wrong. I'm sure they do it in an amazing way, and I'm sure there's some schools out there that do it absolutely incredibly, and it works really well for them. My concern with doing that as a head of faculty or a senior leader is that it increases the kind of laziness of teachers, unfortunately. And I say that not easily. Essentially, a lot of teachers who, when I've kind of talked to them, they don't really know what the lesson is, and haven't really practiced the PowerPoints or even looked at the PowerPoints. And one of the people I observed in this school just didn't know what was on the next slide at all. And I can understand that, and we all have lives, and our lives sometimes are just completely hectic. We do sometimes in our lives the absolute minimum we can get away with. And if you haven't got everything set out for you, the minimum is to get those PowerPoints done or to get the lessons prepped, even if it's not with PowerPoint. So it's a difficult one for me. However, I'm going to talk about why I can't use them, and this tip really is supposed to be, just things to think, and you think for yourself. You go, oh, that's really useful, I'll take that. That's not useful, actually, I like using other people's PowerPoints, and that's absolutely fine if it works for you. Ramble over. Now, the reason I don't ever use someone else's PowerPoint, and I would never work in a school that forced me, is that as teachers, your personality is in those PowerPoints. My personality is in every PowerPoint I make, and I like not using PowerPoints where I can, but for the subjects I do, you have to use PowerPoints. You have to keep the pace of the lesson somehow, and you have to show information in a way, you have to show pictures, and you have to kind of show diagrams and all that stuff. So it's absolutely necessary, and it's absolutely fantastic. Back in the old days, we didn't necessarily have projectors and all that stuff. And PowerPoint, so it's a really positive thing. Now, to make my point, I'll explain the situation that I was in. I joined a different subject, one that I was qualified in, but I'd never taught that specific subject. And within that subject, there were PowerPoints from my previous teacher, and that previous teacher was fantastic, shared with me all the PowerPoints, which was really useful because it's always good to have resources. And on the very first lesson, I was planning the lesson out and planning to use their PowerPoints, and the things just did not make sense to me, because the way that I understood the subject and the way this teacher understood the subject, although the end result was the same, the methods were completely different. I went a completely different way, and I had absolutely my own method for it. And this other teacher, equally valid way, but not my way, not the way that I'm most comfortable with. And so I'd force myself to move to this other teacher's method. Maybe that other teacher's method was better, maybe mine was. It doesn't really matter. You as a teacher need to stick with what you think is correct, not what someone else who wrote the PowerPoint 3 years ago thought was the correct way of explaining something. And I think if you lose that, you lose a part of your professionalism and a part of your judgment. And to be honest, if we are going to have performance-related pay and all of that goodness, then you need to make sure that you are the one making the decisions and not someone else, because it becomes less your responsibility at the end of the year for what results they get if it's not your lessons you're delivering. So it's a bit of a different video today, and one that I really hope that you think about and you come back to me on in the comments box below. Write a comment. Do you use someone else's PowerPoint? Do you find it useful? I would say there's a caveat to that. I do like taking a slide or a diagram, or just sometimes a method. Sometimes I'll go, oh, that's a great method, I'll put that into mine. I think that you need to be looking out for bits to incorporate into your PowerPoints, absolutely no doubt. What I'm saying is just don't take whole chunks of someone else's slides. And although it feels so liberating to not have to do that yourself, for me it is critical that I do my own PowerPoints. And I think that looking back at my career, it's massively helped me. But what do you think? Let me know below. If you like this video and you find it useful, please click like. And if you want to see more quick tips from us, please click subscribe. Thank you very much. Oh, before you go, you can subscribe to us here, and this is our previous video, and this is another video from us. We release videos every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday and Friday at 5 o'clock. Thank you very much.